Greetings everyone, Brett here with Hammerhead Model Making, and we're here with my final video of the year. This is going to be my year in review video, and we're going to start off by looking at some channel stats for the Hammerhead Model Making YouTube channel. And to start things off, let's look at published videos. So I managed to publish 64 videos this year. Now, most of those are review videos, but we've had a number of build videos as well. We had 1.8 million unique views this year, which is almost double from last year. 18,000 new subscribers, again, almost double from last year. And astoundingly, 26 new patrons this year. That's amazing. Thank you so much. And I attended 2 model shows this year and received 11 awards for my work. So definitely feeling very good about that and very pleased. But let's take a look at the builds this year. And we're going to start off with the venerable Airfix 1/72 scale Spitfire Mk.1. Now, this was a fun little kit that I built as a commission. The client requested some very specific markings that there weren't decals available for. And so my good friends Kevin and Janelle over at kitmask.com kindly created some special masking templates that I could use to paint on the markings. So I ended up doing all the markings on this one painted, including the national markings, the aircraft unit numbers, and the aircraft bureau number as well. So a huge shout out to Kitmask for their help and effort and collaboration with this commission project. And there's actually been quite a few projects in this video that were finished with the help of Kitmask. So I definitely want to thank them for this year for being such a good collaborating partner. And I'm very pleased and happy to know them and to have a relationship with them. So I'll put their link down in the description below. Please go check them out for all of your model masking needs. But anyways, fun little kit there. This is a kit that I actually didn't feature either on my channel or my Instagram. This was a kit that I built on my own time. I did have some rather personal attachment to this kit, and not quite in the way that you might think, but nevertheless, this was a kit that I built on my own time, and I'm pleased with the results that it came out with, and figured it was worth showing on the video here today. Next up, we have the first of 4 Honduran Air Force commissions that I did this year. This is the F-86 Sabre in a Southeast Asia paint scheme. And what's fun is the Honduran Air Force, once they received their Sabres, they experimented with quite a few different camo schemes. Eventually, they settled on this one here. I really like the unit badges on the air brakes. I had to do some modifications to this kit. I added details throughout. I added a resin ejection seat to this one, and I had to modify the air brakes because the kit has them coming out, horizontal to the ground, whereas they should actually open downwards a little bit. So I had to make some slight modifications there, but nevertheless, this is a fantastic little kit, and I've built it multiple times now, and I'm sure I'll be building a few more of them. Next up, we have the Eduard FW 190 E8 in 1/48 scale. This was a kit that completely took me by surprise by just how much fun I had working on this kit. I had kind of heard a few anecdotal stories about, Eduard FW 190s they're not great, they have issues, whatever. But I can report, at least in my experience with this one specific kit, that I absolutely had an immense blast building this kit and putting it together and painting it. And it was kind of one of those moments where I feel like nothing really went wrong with this build. I feel like the kit went together perfectly. No fit issues. The paint was just working for me. I was having fun experimenting with some new to me post shading techniques. And this one all just came together exactly how it was envisioned in my mind, with the Tamiya figures and the staff car, the simple diorama base, and the little name plaque on it. Just everything worked out. Very pleased with it. And here we have easily one of my largest builds ever, period. The Revell B1 bomber. Now, this is a kit. If you've watched the video on this one, I know it's long, but I had this kit sitting in my stash for over a decade, just kind of always looming over my head that I need to build it. I wanted to build it. My brother, when he served in the Air Force, his job was arming B1s. So this was always just kind of one of those things that I wanted to do, but I wanted to get it right, and I wanted to do it justice. And I just this year was the year that I felt like I was ready to do it, and I was ready to put all the work into it that it needed. And I mean, it was 6 weeks of mainly just sanding and filling and sanding and filling, repeat ad nauseum. But in the end, I'm very pleased with how it turned out, and I'm already planning another one. So who knows? Maybe sometime in the probably more distant future than near future, we might have another one of these on the channel. But nevertheless, very, very glad that I got this one done. And this one took a gold medal and a best overall aircraft at the IPMS show this year. So again, just super, super happy with how that one turned out. This is a fun little kit that I was not expecting to do this year, and nevertheless, it landed in my lap. And this thing is completely 3D printed. If you haven't seen the video on this one, it's a fairly short video, but the whole build is 3D printed parts. There's no like injection molding, no casting. It's all 3D printed, with the exception of the stand, which is laser cut. But nevertheless, this brilliant little kit, it comes from a video game series called Star Citizen. I'm not necessarily familiar with the game, but this was a commission build. The client reached out to me and had a very specific vision for what he wanted, and I'm glad I was able to execute on it. And in fact, I will probably have 2 more of these coming up in the next few months as well. So looking forward to more fully 3D printed kits. Here we have the first of 2 C-47s that I built this year. And this one is the Trumpeter 148 scale C-47. And if you've watched the build videos on the build series I did on this one, you'll know that I had a lot of troubles, a lot of fit issues with this kit. And I ended up setting it aside for more than a month just because I was really struggling with it. But in the end, I was able to push through and really enjoyed the actual end result. This is another one where Kitmask helped me out with all the markings being painted on this one again. So big shout out to Kitmask again. And then to follow that up, we have the Monogram C-47. And despite its age, this kit actually went together overall better than the Trumpeter one. And I decided to do this one in flight, kind of as a tribute to not only just the paratroopers who jumped out of these, but also the flight crews that had to fly these in behind enemy territory and then back again. And so this one's titled After the Jump, or After the Drop, and depicting all the paratroopers after having dropped out, and the airplane is returning to England the morning of D-Day. And so a lot of fun. I had a great, enjoyable time working on this one, more so than the Trumpeter kit. And yeah, it was kind of fun just to go back to some really old school 1970s tooling with this, but the kit still holds up to some degree today. And in the end, it still looks like a C-47. So here we have another pair of kits that I worked on. These ones I built together. This is the Eduard P-51B Mustang out of their Royal Boxing. And I had the kit itself is brilliant. Few fit issues. If you've built the kit before, you'll know that there's a lot of, you got to be really precise when you're doing the landing, like the main landing gear wheel well. But the kit itself overall is brilliant. The cockpit interior is just phenomenal. I ended up making a lot of mistakes on this one when it came to painting, and I ended up like really ruining a lot of the surface detail, especially behind the cockpit, because I kept having to remove paint and then repaint, and then it ended up bad. And so I'm disappointed that my result, my modeling skills didn't work out on this one, but the kit itself is great. I also built this one in conjunction with one of their P-51D Mustangs, and this one I did a much better job on, and I'm much more pleased with this one. Built this one up as a Pacific War Mustang, so this is, you can find these markings in the very long range boxing. And what really drew me to this set of markings was one, the black and white, or the black and yellow color scheme was very striking, but also the large 165-gallon drop tanks it had, and the rockets, and all the additional antennas that it had on it. Just, it's not your standard Mustang, and that's what like really drew me to this one. So had a lot of fun with it. Again, the kit's brilliant. I did much better job on this one than I did on the B, but good thing I have another one of the Bs in the stash. Actually, I think I have 3 more in the stash. that I will definitely do a better job on in the future. Here we have the Hasegawa 148 scale Macchi C202 Folgore. Now this kit was kindly sent to me by a fellow scale modeler in Italy, and he challenged me to build an Italian fighter. And I'd never built an Italian fighter before, so this was a few firsts for me, and this broke my Hasegawa curse, you could say. I've had a very less than kind relationship with Hasegawa, and I ended up having such a blast on this kit. And the kit itself is brilliant, very nice. I added some Eduard photo etch to this and quick boost resin intake filter and exhaust, and then I tried some more or less effective paint techniques on this. Additionally, I used some more kit mask stencils to do the national markings and the aircraft numbers, things like that. And this ended up taking gold in the World War II era 148 scale aircraft, my local IPMS show. So, huge shout out to Alessandro for sending this to me, because it became an award winner and I had way more fun than I was expecting to building this. And it now very proudly sits in my display case as a reminder that sometimes we need to branch out from what we know, as well as, I used to think Hasegawa was horrible, and now my opinion has changed, and I will probably be building more Hasegawa kits in the future. So, it can happen to anyone. So I'm glad that I had my mind opened on this one. Moving on, we have another Honduran Air Force commission here. This is the UH-1B Huey in 1/72nd scale, painted up in a SEA Southeast Asia camo scheme. This is a Hobby Boss kit. Actually kind of a brilliant little kit. Goes together really well. Got decent detail. I threw in some 3D decals that were meant for a different kit. I think the Italeri kit, but they mostly fit in this one, and had to do some custom markings for it. But this was a fun little kit, and pretty pleased with how it turned out. And then its companion is the AH-6 in Honduran Air Force markings as well. This kit was a struggle. It's an old Italeri tooling and poor fit issues, and plus just the thing is tiny. I mean, it's absurdly small. I ended up doing some scratch building for the rocket pod braces, as well as some scratch building on the interior. Rebuilt the instrument panel, added new seats in the back. So I did some fair amount of work in this one, but in the end, it looks like it's supposed to. And then finally, rounding off the Honduran Air Force commissions, we have another F-86. This one done in this really striking blue camo scheme. I didn't feature this one as in the video on the channel just because I had already done two other F-86s in Honduran Air Force markings, but nevertheless, the camo scheme on this one is really cool, and it's kind of sad they didn't end up picking this one, but it totally makes sense for geographically for their region why they wouldn't. But nevertheless, I think it's a really cool experimental camo that they used, and overall, I'm pretty happy with how the kit turned out. Next up, we have the A37 Dragonfly by Trumpeter. Now, this is a kit that when I started this build, it was my intention to do as much scratch building as I possibly could, and that and I made it kind of a late decision to open up the gun bay in the nose to display the gun bay, and decided that I was going to completely scratch build all of that. So there will be a video coming out on this one after the new year, and it's going to be a long video, mainly just because there's a lot of scratch building details that I want to show you, and a lot of tips and tricks you can use when doing scratch building. But this was, I had so much fun working on this kit, just from start to finish. This was a lot of fun, and another one of those kits that it came out how I was envisioning it, and I really put a lot of effort into the painting and the weathering, so I'm excited to show you guys that video. Next up, we have the Revell F-15E Strike Eagle. So I built this as part of a buddy build over on Instagram, and chose some really striking and colorful heritage markings for the fourth fighter wing. So you've got the invasion stripes on there, this cool camo scheme, and then just a lot of interesting art on the tails and the air brake. So a lot of fun. It's an older kit. I ended up adding some a lot of aftermarket stuff in there, including a lot of 3D printed items. So we've got 3D printed rockets and missiles, Eduard sniper pod, and then the rest of the ordnance all comes from my spares. And since it was a heritage bird and usually more often like meant for displays and shows, I ended up loading it up with training weapons instead of live munitions. I thought that would be a little more fitting. Plus, it was just a way to practice doing something that I hadn't really done before, painting simulation munitions instead of actual live ordnance. So really happy with how this one turned out. Next, we have the Tamiya A6 M3. Now, this kit was sent to me by sunwardhobbies.com, and in typical Tamiya fashion, the kit just falls together. It was such a pleasure to build, and had this really unique set of markings on the box art showing this aircraft that had been overpainted and heavily weathered, and so that I had a lot of fun practicing weathering techniques and trying to be, subtle but deliberate in what I was doing. So huge shout out to Sunward Hobbies for sending this kit over to build. I greatly appreciate it. I can't wait to show you the build video on this one as well, because it's going to be a fairly long one, just detailing all the painting and the weathering that we did. So very happy with it. Head on over to sunwardhobbies.com, check them out, and they've got some good stuff. So yeah, this was a fun build. And finally, my last build of the year, the UH-1H Huey by Kittyhawk, done up in markings of the Japanese Army. So I finished this kit just about 2 days ago, and I ended up purchasing and putting in a res kit interior for this, thinking that it was going to be a huge improvement over the kit parts. Now, to Kittyhawk's credit, the kit parts actually aren't that bad. The res kit parts are more detailed, but I had a lot of struggles getting everything to fit correctly, and I ended up having to omit some details because I just could not get them to fit. I ended up having to trim, cut, and otherwise, cheat on some details. And in the end, if I were to do it again, I would just stick with the kit interior. That said, I had fun detailing up the engine bay. Kittyhawk does provide a full engine bay, but you can always add more cables and hoses and things like that. So I had a lot of fun doing that. The camo scheme was really neat, and then I kind of tried to do it in this neat, maintenance type look. So there we go. That is 2024 in review. A final shout out to my patrons. They are amazingly wonderful people, and I've enjoyed communicating with you on Patreon, and all the great feedback that you give me, but just your support for this channel is immense, and I am eternally grateful for what they do. If you feel like you want to help support the channel, I'll leave a link down to my Patreon down below. Check it out. Otherwise, if you're not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing, and let me know what you guys think of my builds this year down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what your favorite one was. Anyways, thank you all. Have a great year. We'll see you next year.